Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not the expert in data center and clouds. I'm in the accounts and finance. But here we have a distinguished guest and who expert in data center, cloud, and also telecommunication. So to begin with, I think I don't want to take the limelight of you guys. So Benedict Kwok is the Chief Operating Officer of TM Nexera. And we have Lloyd, Head of Data Center Operations and Service Delivery, AIMS Data Center. And we have Peter Macaulay, member and also the expert from CelcomDigi. To begin with, you introduce yourself, Mr. Benedict Kwok.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmad. Right. Good morning to everyone. My name is Ben. Very happy to be here today. I think among the peers, among the audience, I'm glad for this invitation. So I think that today Malaysia stands at a pivotal crossroad, right? Broadly, it may be known as a network transit or a simple co-location provider country. But I guess it has now emerged into really a regional interconnection place, an AI infrastructure hub, and this is not possible if it's without the fiber connectivity, the subsea landings, and also the push forward for the digital infrastructure. Now at TM Nexera, where my fellow members was just saying, right? TM Nexera is a combination of the two incumbents in Singapore and in Malaysia, originating from a telco business, and it moved on into data center. I think TM brings deep domestic fiber, national infrastructure, while Singtel contributes to regional connectivity, as well as the experience for the hyperscaler in the data center era. We are not just building a capacity, I would say. We are actually creating the ecosystem to support the Malaysia digital future. Right? As I think we look ahead, this is the ecosystem that we are building to make sure that Malaysia will be the digital gateway of ASEAN.
Thank you, Mr. Benedict. And quick 1 or 2 minutes introduction, Mr. Lloyd.
Hi, morning. My name is Lloyd. I've been working with AIMS Data Center for the last 25 years. AIMS is basically an ecosystem data center service provider and one of the pioneer data center operator in Malaysia. Over the last 5 years, we have seen really tremendous growth in terms of data center build and operation. I'm very excited about the growth future for Malaysia data center industry, and I look forward to fantastic growth for the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Next, Mr. Macaulay.
Selamat pagi. Good morning. And we live in an exciting time. I've worked for 40 years in the telco industry where we achieved 5 nines availability. And 5 nines availability is we could have a downtime. The equipment, the telephone, would not work for a maximum of 5 minutes per year. That was 5 nines. And we just heard from Huawei that on their power systems, they're going to 6 nines. And 6 nines, if you can imagine it, is something like 16 seconds of maximum downtime per year. That's incredible. But these are the demands that are being placed on our industry, and how do we achieve them? We are participating with MCMC, the Malaysia Technical Standards Forum Berhad, to be able to set some standards so that we can build these data centers to be reliable. And reliable means connectivity, fiber, and to be able to have multiple sources and pathways to provide fiber optic cable connectivity. So we'll talk some more about this, but I think that this is something that we should all look at how do we make these data centers that we're building now very, very reliable with a high availability.
Thank you. So let's move to the interesting phase after you guys give introduction. So Malaysia is connecting East and West. Is positioned ourselves as a key AI and data center hub and attracting significant investment with the target of securing over 160 billion ringgit by 2030. So in conjunction with the ASEAN Summit next week, our discussion today is very, very interesting to hear from the industry expert, investors, and also important stakeholders. Whether we like it or not, we are living in the transition world. We are moving from conventional environment into a fully digital era. My first question to Mr. Peter Macaulay, as a telecommunication company, what is your views of this episode of living in the transition era?
I think it's very exciting times that we're living in now. And building these data centers, we're adding AI compute. AI compute are from the GPUs from NVIDIA, AMD, Huawei, and Intel. And those GPU processors are really changing our world and changing the ability of Malaysian companies to be able to manufacture. So if you want to start a Malaysian manufacturing business, and if you're making nuts and bolts or light bulbs or, in fact, white label servers, if you're building that equipment, including chipsets, semiconductors, At the end of your assembly line, whatever your product is, you need to have 60 cameras looking at the queue and doing QA to help you deliver that product, whatever it is you're making. If you want to be competitive in the world, you need AI compute capabilities. And that's going to make Malaysia, as a technological advantage in the world, we've seen in the last 2 days, AWS was down. And if you look at the USA, it is highly focused on about 3 hyperscalers. We have a huge advantage here in Malaysia. This is my home. I've lived here 16 years. It was a choice when I married my Malaysian wife from Malacca. So we could live in Canada or we could live in Malaysia. I chose this one. And I think that really we want to build that infrastructure so that we can provide an advantage, a technological advantage. If we're going to have these factories, they need AI compute capability. And we want that AI capability to be reliable. And the reliability comes from diversity. We don't want a connection just from one service provider or NFP, network facility provider, such as CelcomDigi. It needs to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. They want 4. And within the Malaysian Technical Standards Forum Berhad, we're actually defining new procedures whereby the fiber optic cable will be put in ducts. These are 4-inch, 100 mm ducts that come in and travel for about 1 kilometer from the data center in 4 directions. We call these POEs, point of entry. And we're now adjusting the code for how to deliver that technology in Malaysia to be able to make sure that those ducts are in concrete for perhaps 1 kilometer from the data center in the 4 directions. So we can have a connectivity going to Maxis, to CelcomDigi, to TM, to Time, over to another data center in Cyberjaya or in downtown KL. So I think that's the topic that we need to actually focus on for availability and, in fact, excessive connectivity to make the whole AI compute available to all of our factories.
Thank you, Mr. Peter Macaulay. And I just want to share one statistics, the important information about Malaysia. In ASEAN, we have 11 countries, 700 million population. So Malaysia is just a very small country, but strategically located in the middle of ASEAN. So perhaps with the inclusion of Timor-Leste in our family, so it makes up 11 countries. Can you imagine whatever we do here in Malaysia, we can always replicate to our neighboring countries? So talking about AI, talking about IoTs, and talking about how can the technology and digital capabilities add value to our daily routines. What is your views on this? This question I would like to channel to Mr. Lloyd.
So in our data center, we don't just host GPU servers. In fact, in our operation, we also use a lot of AI to help us to manage our data center. Example, we can create a digital twin system, right? Basically, it is a virtual data center model that replicates the physical operation. So all the data collected from all our sensors, our equipment, operation data, and also the physical environment of the data center, right? We can fit into this AI model to provide us a real-time data-driven simulation model. That enables us to basically monitor, to optimize, as well as to predict what will happen in data center operation. So with this, we are able to do a what-if scenario, right? What if this equipment fails? What can you do? How will it affect the data center operation? All this we incorporate in our day-to-day operation so that it can enable us to make the various data center operation more efficient, from data center design and planning, from capacity management, in terms of data center optimization, as well as predictive maintenance. All this, we can use AI with the advancement of all these modeling tools. The large learning model, we can enable us to make the data center operation more efficient. So in short, with incorporating AI in our day-to-day operation, we are able to do a visualization of our operation, do optimization in terms of controlling our PoE. We can do simulation so that we can make data center operation more effective. And also from preventive and reactive maintenance to predictive maintenance. These are some of the advantages that we see how AI can be used in our day-to-day data center operation.
Okay, thank you. When we talk about AI and data centers, everybody knows that many, especially the employers, business owners, and even the employees, so they are worried about artificial intelligence are taking over the role of human in many ways. So what are your views, Mr. Benedict? How can we comfort them and how can we work hand in hand effectively and cohesively?
All right, I think AI is not to replace, I'll repeat myself, not to replace human. And the fact of AI assistance today, if you look at it, if I just echo or circle back what Lloyd has just said, it gave us predictive, it gave us a model. What does it mean? It gave us efficiency. Which means today, if I can use AI to predict that particular hardware or equipment that is coming to a point of close to failure or even before failure, that is the action. Who's going to carry out? It's going to be the human. It's not going to be the AI who replaces a particular battery at all. The narrative of AI taking over human, I'm like a better way of saying, I'm totally disgusted by that, right? It's not the right way that is saying. If you're saying that you're doing mandate, routine thing, yes, it may, but in AI, use it to the best of the human interests. Make yourself more efficient, make yourself more glaring, or make yourself even more productive in that way. I don't see AI as a tool that kills humans' employment. I see it as a part of complementary. I myself took a side course that what AI can do and how to utilize AI in the most low-code, no-code perspective. So these are the people, these are things that's in the market today who's going to help you and help all human that is going to make things better. Just imagine previously, if I'm going to say, is Google going to take over the books while you do a search? No. But what is Google helping us to do today? It's helping you to search the information even more productive rather than going to a suite of library or a sea of books that's going to be there that is you're going to run through every single page to get the info. Right? I think AI, look at it, it's not going to replace human. I believe that it's going to be more productive, making ones more efficient. And I like the analogy whereby it is going to cause, or shall I say, it is going to be a tool that is going to help operation to be more efficient.
Thank you, Benedict. Investors out there, business owners, and also stakeholders would like to know what are the challenges that are facing data centers developers. Because we talk about power, we talk about cooling system, we talk about scarce of resources. So this question is open to panelists to take. And I want to bring this discussion at a different level because of, as we talk today, government are trying very hard to support both issues, power and cooling. So in your opinions, how can we work together with the government and also important stakeholders to address these challenges? Not only in Malaysia, also in the other neighboring countries in Southeast Asia. What do you think?
I came to Malaysia in 2009 and worked for 10 years at Telecom Malaysia and helped launch Unify, which we had a service of 5 megabit, 10 megabit, or there was an amazing speed of 20 megabit. That was 2009, 2010 launch. And today, in my home, we got just 2 kilometers from here, a 2.5 gigabit service. And I'm trying to make the business case to my wife to upgrade to 10 gigabit. But that's a challenge that I personally have. But what's happening at the data centers is the data centers are now growing, and they were running 5 years ago at 100 gig. The data centers are now running at, today, 400 gig, upgrading to 800 gigabit. And in January, they're going to be testing, trying out the new 1600 gigabit, that's 1.6 tera. And so if you think about the planning, how long it takes for TM and Time and CelcomDigi Maxis to deploy fiber, it takes a long time in the planning. It's a 2-year plan. Now, we have the advantage as an operator in that we already have the ducts in the ground, but we need to upgrade the fiber. We need to upgrade the fiber because if you think about the next 5 years, we're then going to take that 1.6 terabit per second on the fiber optic cable, and we're going to run it at double speed, 3.2, 6.4. So by 2030, we'll see some 5 terabit per second connections. And each of the racks that we talk about for these AI compute servers have about 30,000 fiber cables coming into them. So we have a lot of connectivity that needs to be diversified and needs to be high speed. The quality of the fiber needs to be high speed. So you talk about a challenge. That is a challenge that we're now facing. How do we get a good quality fiber optic cable to be able to go these high speeds that the hyperscalers want? And as I mentioned, we don't just have the 7 top hyperscalers from the US. We're in Asia, we've got 7 plus 7, we've got about 14 different hyperscalers, including YTL, that could be put in that category as well. So we need to deliver for them a very high-speed fiber optic cable. So that's a challenge, and we're trying to do that using and leveraging some of these Malaysian technical standards, Forum Berhad standards in the industry to be able to make sure we can have a consistent deployment.
Right, thank you. And when we talk about data centers and fiber optics intertwined, so this question I would like to take Mr. Benedict on your views, because in Malaysia today, whether we like it or not, we have lack of bandwidth to play around. So all telco companies are giving us unlimited data, 100 megabits, 200 megabits. If you have shortages of bandwidth, they ask you to upgrade. For examples, Unify at home or maybe your mobile. And we have, I think, about 44 or maybe 50 million subscribers because of, I think, each and every one of you having more than one mobile phone, not to mention about iPad and also tab. So what do you think, Mr. Benedict, from Telecom Malaysia point of view, in order for us to support data centers, developers and players, and also the consumers, what is the role of telecommunication companies like TM to enhance or to increase customer experience into fiber optics?
Thank you. Okay, I represent TM Nexera, which is more from a data center aspect. So I'll come in from a data center perspective, right? I guess in a data center, or should I say by having a decent connectivity, I would say, or a decent experience from your mobile phone, accessing your banking app, accessing your shopping needs, or even on a ChatGPT that you're going to use today, right? What it matters is that today, there are two parts of the connectivity that we have to consider. One from the user end perspective, and one which is out from a data center. If I look at it from a data center perspective, it means that does this data center you're going to will be a single carrier in the data center? Or is it going to be a data center with the hosting data or facilities that is going to be in a data center that is hosting that banking transaction or banking app? Does it have choice of multiple providers going out there? And does this carrier treated this in the data center as a connectivity output which carries high bandwidth? So then it translates into the user experience. Even the user experience is going to have 1 gig data connectivity, but at the source itself, it's just half of it. Just imagine what's still getting effectively. So I think user experience has two perspectives while we look at it. All we want is that by a touch of the screen, it maybe just pop out something else, right? I guess that is expectations. And if I just think that from a data center perspective, I would love to think that a data center have to be carrier neutral. Give multiple choice to any of the customers who's going to be in the data center to connect to anyone. While they connect to anyone, what it means that today you may be on TM, you may be on DG, you may be on Celcom, whosoever that you are as an end user, but the connectivity does not go through another hop through, let's say, TM and goes to DG as an end user. So it creates a lesser hop in that sense from a responsible data center provider to make sure the data center is carrier neutral. And thus enhance down into the consumer experience, I would say. I would say speed is something that is subjective in a way, and at times it still gives you the outcome. I guess I come from an era which is 64K. And this 64K, you're talking about a modem that gives you like a hell of noise for a minute or so before you get connected. We live in the era before, or I live in the era before. Today, sometimes it's just for consumer itself, even myself, I'll take things for granted. So the experience, I think, lies very much not only from what your expectation is, at the same time, is wherever the server is going to be hosted, is it in to be your nearest proximity? Just imagine that if Google or Microsoft or even the hyperscaler talking about does not have a presence in the Asia, what will you experience then?
Thank you, Mr. Benedict. In terms of data center development, is that location play an important role or not? Because of a lot of industries, especially on the education side, like universities, they have a lot of campuses located, scattered everywhere in Peninsula, Sabah and Sarawak. So even we talk about ASEAN. So how about the location for data centers?
So right now, we've got about 35 data centers in Cyberjaya, and they've been there historically. But we've now popped up to maybe 52 data centers that are being built or have been built in Johor. Why Johor? Because it's close to the cable landing stations that don't come into Batam, Indonesia, or come into Singapore. So it's proximity that's driving, plus a good price on the land and a good price of electricity in Malaysia. Even though our electricity in our condo has gone up, it's gone up more for the data center operators, but it's still cheaper than in Singapore. So that's driving the actual location to Johor, and it's called latency. So right now, when we transmit in fiber optic cable, we're transmitting the laser light inside glass. So we think that it's traveling at the speed of light because it's a laser, but no, since it's in glass, the signal is attenuated and it drops down to 70% the speed of light. So it's 70% the speed of light inside the glass. We have a new generation of fiber coming, which is in fact then multi-core. We get one fiber and we put in 6, 8 fiber optic cables inside one core, the size of one hair. And now we've got another generation coming, which is actually looking like a straw. It's glass on the outside, but the center is empty. It's going to be a vacuum or it's going to be air. So that new fiber, the actual laser can travel at the speed of light. So that means that we can go from Johor all the way up to the Thai border, which is 1,000 kilometers, and we can save 5 milliseconds. Now, if you're a Bloomberg stock market trader, that's going to be an incredible advantage for your machine buying of some more Bitcoin or some new stocks, NVIDIA stocks or Broadcom stocks. You could be doing the trading electronically much faster. So this is going to happen over the next 5-10 years. So that's going to come, but this is the limit we have. In Malaysia, we've only got about less than 10 cable landing stations. We've got more coming in to Sedali in Johor. So we'll start to see more fiber coming in, and that'll be one thing that'll start to change the balance. And we can start to see new data centers then develop all over Malaysia, including in Sarawak, where they've got much more electricity, a lot of hydroelectricity. And the hydroelectricity is working 24/7. We have solar panels everywhere, but the solar panels are only good for about 5 hours a day and take up a lot of space. So hydroelectricity is going to be key, and that could push where are the data centers located.
Thank you, Mr. And in 30 seconds, what is your conclusion, what your wish list, Mr. Benedict, as a player of data centers in the industry?
Okay, so I'm originating from Singtel, joining the JV Co as a COO right now, right? My wish is that I'm glad that to see that the process of having even setting up the data centers, getting power, getting renewable in streamlined. The policy also had wrap around to make sure that the investment is getting easier, or should I say getting more efficient. Well, I remember when it initially started, where it's all over the place that we have to go everywhere. I guess the formation of a OSS is going to help a lot. And with that, my wish is if the OSS could probably, setting just one example, right? Setting from let's say, 60 days down to 30 days.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lloyd, your conclusion remarks.
As a data center investor and operator, right, what we wish to see is that from the government's perspective, we need policy certainties so that we can plan for investment. So all these changes that the government has been announcing for the last 1 year, some of it has been a surprise to the industry. So we need to adjust to the policy changes. Our wish list is basically the government to have stabilized, consistent policy so that our investment can be carried out long term.
Okay, we hear you because of I'm part of a Manadi think tank. So I will convey these messages and wish lists into the government think tank and together with the MOF and also Prime Minister's office. So give big round of applause to panelists that we have here today.